and it has you considering buying a used car instead, we've got some tips to help you find the most reliable ride.
Dealerships across America are drowning in unsold SUVs, with some models sitting for over 400 days. Inventory has risen 26% since December, while sales dropped 25% in January. Stellantis brands alone reduced inventory by over 100,000 units, but still face massive oversupply. These aren't just slow sellers, they're financial disasters waiting to crush your wallet. Smart buyers can capitalize, but one wrong move could cost you tens of thousands in depreciation. The market is screaming one message: avoid these models at all costs. Dodge Hornet. The Dodge Hornet isn't just struggling to sell, it's bleeding money on dealer lots across America. And anyone who buys one today is walking into a financial disaster that could cost them $15,000 or more in the first year alone. With 14,596 units sitting unsold and only 1,536 moving in the past 45 days, this compact SUV has become the poster child for everything wrong with modern car manufacturing. Here's what Stellantis doesn't want you to know about their so-called success story. Internal dealer reports show the Hornet has a market day supply of 428 days, meaning at current sales rates, it would take well over a year to clear existing inventory. That's not a sales slowdown. That's a complete market rejection of an overpriced product that nobody actually wants. The numbers tell the real story that Dodge marketing teams are desperately trying to hide. When a brand new model sits on lots for more than 400 days, you're looking at a vehicle that was rushed to market without understanding what buyers actually need. Stellantis forced this compact SUV into showrooms to fill a gap in their lineup, but they priced it like a premium product when it delivers mainstream value at best. Smart buyers can see right through this mess, while others are getting stuck with vehicles that lose value faster than ice melts in summer. The depreciation hit has already started, and early buyers are discovering their Hornets are worth thousands less than they paid just months after purchase. The key issue is simple. Stellantis created a solution for a problem that didn't exist, then charged customers premium prices for the privilege of being their test market. Dealers are now forcing these SUVs off their lots with aggressive incentives, but even deep discounts can't hide the fact that this vehicle represents one of the worst automotive investments you could make in 2025. Jeep Grand Wagoneer. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer is costing buyers $20,000 to $30,000 more than they should be paying for what amounts to a dressed-up truck with a luxury nameplate, and the market has finally caught on to this expensive charade. With 2,214 units collecting dust on dealer lots and only 233 sold in the past 45 days, this so-called luxury SUV is crashing harder than Stellantis executives ever imagined possible. Here's the brutal reality that Jeep marketing teams don't want you to discover. Sales plunged 67% in the second quarter of 2025 alone, making this one of the fastest falling luxury vehicles in America. When you're looking at a vehicle that starts at $59,000 and climbs past $114,000 for top models, you're paying Lincoln Navigator and Cadillac Escalade money for a product that simply can't deliver the same level of refinement and reliability. Industry insiders reveal that Stellantis priced the Grand Wagoneer based on what they hoped it could be worth, rather than what it actually delivers to customers. Internal dealer communications show that even with aggressive incentives, buyers are walking away because they can get better value from established luxury competitors who have decades of experience building premium vehicles. The key problem is simple. Jeep tried to charge luxury prices for a brand that's known for rugged utility, not pampered comfort. Smart buyers recognize that paying $100,000 for a Jeep nameplate makes about as much sense as buying a Rolex from a gas station. The depreciation curve on these overpriced SUVs is already steeper than a mountain highway, and early buyers are discovering their Grand Wagoneers are worth significantly less than comparable vehicles from Lincoln or Cadillac. What makes this situation particularly dangerous for buyers is that Stellantis is still pushing these vehicles as premium products when the market has already rejected them as overpriced mistakes. Lincoln Navigator. The Lincoln Navigator is bleeding money on dealer lots, with 118 days of inventory piling up, costing early buyers $10,000 to $15,000 in immediate depreciation, while Lincoln pretends everything is fine with their luxury flagship. When the industry average sits at just 30 days, you're looking at a vehicle that's sitting nearly 4 times longer than it should, which tells you everything you need to know about buyer interest in this gas-guzzling giant. Here's what Lincoln doesn't want you to understand about their so-called success story. Despite getting a complete redesign for 2025 with all the latest technology and styling updates, the Navigator is struggling to find buyers willing to pay luxury prices for what amounts to a dressed-up Ford Expedition. Internal sales reports show that while the regular Expedition saw massive gains in the second quarter of 2025, the luxury Navigator continues to sit on lots because buyers can't justify spending an extra $20,000 to $30,000 for basically the same vehicle. The brutal truth that Lincoln marketing teams are trying to hide is that luxury SUV buyers have moved on from these fuel-hungry monsters in favor of more efficient options from BMW, MER, CEDES, and even TESLA. Smart buyers recognize that paying $80,000 to $100,000 for a vehicle that gets terrible gas mileage makes no financial sense when you can get better technology and efficiency from German competitors for similar money. Dealer reports reveal that Lincoln is stuck with aging inventory because they priced the Navigator like it was still 2019, when buyers cared more about size than efficiency. The market has shifted toward hybrid and electric luxury options, leaving the Navigator looking like a dinosaur that refuses to evolve. What makes this particularly dangerous for buyers is that Lincoln continues pushing these vehicles as premium investments when the resale data clearly shows they're depreciating faster than their mainstream Ford siblings. Infiniti QX80. The Infiniti QX80 is costing buyers $8,000 to $12,000 more than they should be paying for a luxury SUV that can't decide if it wants to compete with premium brands or budget alternatives. And the confusion is bleeding through to terrible resale values that smart buyers are already avoiding. With 83 days of inventory sitting on dealer lots while Toyota and Lexus maintain just 30 and 29 days respectively, you're looking at a vehicle that even Infiniti's own parent company Nissan can't figure out how to position in the market. Here's what Infiniti marketing teams don't want you to discover about their so-called flagship success. Despite spending millions on a complete redesign for 2025 with improved styling and technology, the QX80 has actually lost its biggest selling point by pricing itself out of the value category. Internal dealer reports show that starting prices have jumped so high that buyers can now get a Cadillac Escalade or Mercedes GLS for similar money, which makes choosing the Infiniti a questionable decision at best. The brutal reality is that Infiniti destroyed their own competitive advantage by trying to charge luxury prices without delivering luxury brand prestige or reliability reputation. Smart buyers recognize that when you're paying $70,000 to $80,000 for a full-size SUV, you want a brand that has proven itself over decades, not one that's struggling to maintain dealer networks and service support across the country. Industry insiders reveal that even the QX80's impressive 8,500-pound towing capacity can't overcome buyer skepticism about long-term ownership costs and questionable resale values. Dealer feedback shows that customers are walking away because they can't justify paying premium prices for a brand that's viewed as a step down from established luxury competitors. What makes this particularly dangerous for buyers is that Infiniti continues marketing the QX80 as a luxury bargain when it's actually become an overpriced liability. BMW X7. The BMW X7 is costing buyers $20,000 more than they should be paying for a luxury SUV that looks like it was designed by someone who hates traditional BMW styling, and the financial damage from this overpriced experiment is hitting early buyers harder than BMW executives ever expected. Starting at $84,300 for the base model, you're looking at a vehicle that's priced $20,000 higher than competitors like the Audi Q7, which makes choosing the BMW a costly mistake that smart buyers are already avoiding. Here's what BMW marketing teams don't want you to understand about their flagship SUV strategy. Despite recent updates and improvements, the X7 continues languishing on dealer lots because buyers can't get past that massive kidney grille design that looks more like a truck than a luxury vehicle. Internal dealer feedback shows that even loyal BMW customers are walking away because they're embarrassed to be seen driving something that polarizing, and when your own brand loyalist won't buy your product, you know you have a serious problem. The brutal reality is that BMW created oversupply in the ultra-luxury segment by trying to steal sales from the Cadillac Escalade. But instead of expanding the market, they just created too many expensive options that nobody really wants. Industry insiders reveal that while the X7 and Mercedes GLS are technically eating into Escalade sales, they're also cannibalizing each other and creating a pileup of unsold inventory that's forcing dealers to offer deeper discounts just to move these vehicles off their lots. Smart buyers recognize that paying over $80,000 for a BMW SUV means signing up for maintenance costs that can easily run $3,000 to $5,000 per year, plus dealing with depreciation that hits German luxury vehicles harder than most people realize. What makes this particularly dangerous is that BMW continues pushing the X7 as premium engineering when it's actually become a financial liability. Volvo XC90. The Volvo XC90 is costing buyers $5,000 to $8,000 more in depreciation than comparable luxury SUVs because safety reputation alone can't overcome below-average resale values and an aging platform that's starting to show its age against fresher competition, with inventory building up significantly. Despite the XC90 capturing 16% of its segment, you're looking at a vehicle that trades on past reputation while struggling to justify premium pricing in today's competitive luxury market. Here's what Volvo marketing teams don't want you to discover about their flagship SUV. Despite getting a refresh for 2025 with updated styling and technology, the XC90 still rides on a platform that's fundamentally older than what you'll find in the Genesis GV80 or Mercedes GLE class. Internal dealer reports show that buyers are increasingly choosing competitors that offer newer technology and better long-term value, which explains why Volvo is stuck with growing inventory even though they're only capturing a modest share of luxury SUV sales. The brutal reality is that Volvo's safety-first marketing strategy isn't enough to overcome practical concerns about limited dealer networks and questionable long-term ownership experience. Smart buyers recognize that when you're paying $60,000 to $70,000 for a luxury SUV, you want confidence that you can get service and support anywhere in the country, not just in major metropolitan areas where Volvo dealers are actually located. Industry insiders reveal that while the XC90 remains competitive on paper against rivals like the Genesis and Mercedes, it's losing the battle where it really matters, in resale value and ownership satisfaction. Dealer feedback shows that customers are walking away because they can't justify paying premium prices for a vehicle that depreciates faster than its German and Korean competitors. What makes this particularly concerning for buyers is that Volvo continues promoting the XC90 as a premium safety investment when the financial data clearly shows it's becoming a depreciating liability. Acura MDX. The Acura MDX is costing buyers $6,000 to $10,000 more than they should be paying for a luxury SUV that feels more like a sporty Honda than a true premium vehicle, and the market rejection is so severe that even being Acura's best-selling model can't hide the fact that sales crashed 28.8% compared to 2023, while parent company Honda enjoyed 15.7% increases across their lineup. Acura sales plummeted 12.5% overall, which tells you everything you need to know about buyers choosing mainstream Honda reliability over questionable Acura luxury positioning. Here's what Acura marketing teams don't want you to understand about their flagship strategy. Despite offering sportier handling than most rivals, the MDX simply doesn't deliver the luxury experience that buyers expect when they're paying $50,000 to $60,000 for a three-row SUV. Internal dealer feedback shows that customers are walking away after test drives because the MDX feels cheap and plasticky compared to the Genesis GV80 or Volvo XC90, both of which offer genuine luxury materials and craftsmanship for similar money. The brutal reality is that Acura created a vehicle that fails at its primary job, being a family hauler that adults can actually use. Smart buyers recognize that when you're buying a 3-row SUV, the third row needs to accommodate real people, not just children under 10 years old. And the MDX's cramped rear seating makes it practically useless for most families who need genuine 7-passenger capability. Industry insiders reveal that Acura is stuck trying to justify premium pricing for a brand that most buyers view as fancy Honda, which explains why they're losing market share to competitors who offer either better value or genuine luxury credentials. What makes this particularly dangerous for buyers is that Acura continues marketing the MDX as a luxury bargain when depreciation data shows it's actually overpriced for what it delivers. Genesis G or Viv 80. The Genesis G Viv 80 is costing early buyers $10,000 to $15,000 in depreciation because luxury credentials and impressive reviews can't overcome the harsh reality that most people have never heard of Genesis, making this beautifully crafted SUV a financial gamble that smart buyers are avoiding despite its 25% sales increase, with only 10% segment share, despite starting around $59,000 and climbing to $80,000 when well equipped. You're looking at a vehicle that competes directly with established German rivals, but lacks the brand recognition to hold its value. Here's what Genesis marketing teams don't want you to understand about their luxury strategy. Despite stunning buyers with quilted leather interiors and a 27-inch curved display that makes BMW and Mercedes offerings look outdated, the GV80 suffers from fundamental problems that no amount of premium materials can solve. Internal dealer reports show that customers love the vehicle during test drives, but walk away when they realize they'll have trouble finding service centers outside major metropolitan areas. And resale value uncertainty makes financing difficult even for well-qualified buyers. The brutal reality is that Genesis created a luxury SUV that's arguably better than German competitors in many ways, but they're asking buyers to take a massive financial risk on a brand that most people still confuse with the Bible book rather than a car company. Smart buyers recognize that when you're spending $70,000 to $80,000 on a luxury vehicle, you want confidence that it will retain value and provide reliable service support, not just impressive interior materials and technology features. Industry insiders reveal that while Genesis continues posting sales increases, they're growing from such a small base that even modest gains look impressive on paper, while hiding the fact that they're still struggling to convince mainstream luxury buyers to take a chance on an unproven brand with questionable long-term prospects. Audi Q7. The Audi Q7 is costing buyers $4,000 to $7,000 more than it's actually worth because outdated technology and declining reliability reputation make this supposedly premium SUV a questionable investment that's losing ground to fresher competitors every month. With sales slipping 2% and market share dropping to just 9% of the luxury 3-row segment, you're looking at a vehicle that even being $20,000 cheaper than the BMW X7 can't save from its fundamental problems. Here's what Audi marketing teams don't want you to discover about their aging flagship. Despite receiving updates for 2025, the Q7 continues struggling against newer rivals because the interior technology feels like it's from 5 years ago compared to what you'll find in the Genesis GV80 or refreshed Volvo XC90. Internal dealer feedback shows that customers are walking away after comparing the Q7's dated infotainment system and lower quality materials to competitors that offer more modern luxury experiences for similar money. The brutal reality is that Audi is stuck trying to stretch an aging platform and outdated design language, while competitors have moved on to newer, more impressive offerings that make the Q7 look and feel like yesterday's technology. Smart buyers recognize that when you're paying $60,000 to $70,000 for a luxury SUV, you shouldn't have to accept compromises on technology, materials, or reliability just because the Audi badge used to mean something special in the luxury market. Industry insiders reveal that Audi's reliability concerns continue plaguing the brand among luxury SUV buyers who remember expensive repair bills and frequent service visits from previous Audi ownership experiences. Dealer reports show that even loyal Audi customers are considering other brands because they can't justify paying premium prices for a vehicle that feels outdated and comes with questionable long-term ownership costs. What makes this particularly concerning is that Audi continues positioning the Q7 as cutting-edge German engineering when it's actually becoming an overpriced relic. Ford Expedition. The Ford Expedition is costing early buyers $15,000 to $20,000 in depreciation because Ford tried to charge $75,000 for an SUV that consumers accurately valued at only $48,000, and the market rejection was so severe that sales crashed 37% in the first quarter of 2025 alone. When your own customers are telling you that your pricing is $27,000 too high, you know you have a fundamental problem that goes far beyond normal model year transitions. Here's what Ford marketing teams don't want you to understand about their flagship SUV strategy. Despite spending millions on a complete redesign for 2025, the Expedition failed to attract buyers because Ford eliminated the V8 engine options that customers actually wanted while jacking up prices to luxury levels without delivering luxury quality or features. Internal dealer complaints show that customers were walking away from showrooms because they couldn't get special financing deals and the vehicles felt overpriced for what Ford was actually delivering. The brutal reality is that Ford tried to transform their fleet-focused workhorse into a premium family hauler, but they forgot that buyers have other choices when you're asking them to pay Tahoe and Suburban money for a vehicle with Ford's questionable quality control reputation. Smart buyers recognize that spending $75,000 on a Ford SUV made no sense when they could get better reliability and lower ownership costs from General Motors competitors for similar money. Industry insiders reveal that while recent months have shown improvement as the new model finally reached dealers, early adopters who bought during the transition period got stuck with massive depreciation hits that wiped out thousands of dollars in value practically overnight. Dealer reports confirm that customers are still hesitant to pay premium prices for a brand that's known more for fleet sales than luxury experiences. What makes this particularly dangerous is that Ford continues pushing premium pricing when market data clearly shows the Expedition is overvalued.